And now you're on camera. And now we're recording audio. Woohoo! No Fat Chick 16. What up, Bandi? Alright.
Yeah.
So now we just freeform. Now we just riff.
Go.
So yeah, but let's select. Let's look at this for a minute here. 55 calories. Premium light beer. So it sounds kind of like an oxymoron.
Yes.
Premium light beer.
Premium light beer.
I don't even know what that means.
It's like, it's trying to just make you feel better that you're drinking a light beer.
Well, what me and my buddy Carpenter were talking about on the last a couple episodes ago, I think we're like, it's not about how many calories. This is like specializing in like 55 calories, but how many carbs are you taking in, right? Yeah. So let's take a look here. We got carbs here. And Bo's trying to push his way in here. It's so funny. Let's see here. They don't even put it on here. They don't want you to know.
There's got to be carbs on there somewhere.
Oh, carbohydrates. Not bad.
What do we got?
1.9 grams? No, 1.9 grams of protein. So this is right here.
1.9 grams of carbs?
That can't be right. Otherwise, Bud Light Select is my new... Just kidding. Right. I won't even finish that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Let's try
I like my carbs.
Bud Light Select! Free ads! Oh, fuck. So, we got a fucking race in the NL West.
Yes, we have one pretty good one going on right now. I mean, I like the Diamondbacks' chances going through, but no, you got your Dodgers got something going on too. I mean, you're definitely still in the hunt.
Yeah, we just got our fucking shit pushed in by the Astros last night, 14-0.
I mean, to be fair, most people get their shit pushed in by the Astros.
What sucks is like they didn't have who's the guy that did the gesture? The Asian gesture?
Yeah.
He was suspended, and then Altuve was hurt or whatever, and they didn't have like Gladys couldn't play because he was in the DH, and we still lost. It's like, damn it, they don't even have three of their best hitters, and we can't beat them because their pitching is so good.
I mean, here's the thing that my whole thought process on the Dodgers is that they want to try to be the Yankees, but they're not as good as being the Yankees as they want to be.
They're not as good at being the Yankees as they want to be.
Because the Yankees can go out and get themselves, the mid-season replacements, go and pay money to get, the Manny Machados of the world, but those lead to World Series titles. The Dodgers go and get them, and somehow either get the guys that are just past their prime, like they did with that big trade all those years ago with the Adrian Gonzalez and the Hanley, all those guys.
Manny Ramirez,
like all those guys, and they're really good for like about half a season, but then it all crumbles.
Yeah.
But the Yankees go out and they find young guys, or they know exactly when to get rid of their older guys, bring in prospects, and then they just redo it all over again.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We got Machado, he's 26. Like that's a pretty good one. I mean, he's supposed to be our foundation. Now we'll see if he resigns with us long term, but I mean, that's the whole goal.
I mean, I think you guys have a good shot at getting Machado to re-sign with you guys. I mean, it all depends too, because he's a natural shortstop. So if you want him to be playing shortstop, you have to do something with I forget your guys'
Seager?
Yeah, Seager. I mean, because I don't think you guys getting rid of Corey Seager anytime soon either.
No, I know. I was originally thinking you'd bump him over or whoever over to second, but then we got Dozier. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right.
I wonder if we hold on to him and somewhat. Or
I can see Dozier being more of a just a mid-season replacement kind of guy. I mean, I don't know his contract status right now off the top of my head.
Me either. My brother would know, but I don't know. But he came on hitting 2 dingers, and then everybody went cold yesterday. They got outpitched and outplayed, and then like kind of just like once you go down by like 7 runs to the Astros, you're kind of mentally out of the game.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're just burning pitchers.
Yeah, I mean I think that's a big thing for the Diamondbacks is our pitching we got all those relief pitchers.
Yeah.
That we traded for. We brought back Brett Ziegler. We got in Deepin from
Who's the beard dude?
Archie Bradley.
That's like everyone's favorite, right?
Oh yeah, the beard. Yeah, absolutely.
How come he's not your closer, or is he your closer now?
Here's the thing. I think the whole premise of a closer is just dumb. Because here's the idea. The whole premise behind a closer is you want to have it's your best relief pitcher, but you only put in your closer in certain situations where he can get a certain stat to save. But you can only get a save if you're winning the game and you're up by like 2 runs or with a matter of 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you don't want to send in your closer. You send in as a different relief guy. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing: if my best reliever is my closer. I'm sending in my best reliever when I need him to go in.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's the bottom of the 8th, I'm going in the heart of the order. So the Dodgers, for example, we're up by 3 runs, but then we've got Machado, Dozier, and Turner coming up. I need to get those guys out because this is a dangerous part of our game. So I'd much rather send in my best relief pitcher to get out the heart of the opposing team's order. And then once I'm out of that, then be like, okay, now let me send in someone else to get the quote-unquote save.
Does he go more than 6 outs typically?
He can. He not typically. Normally he can do 1 to 2. They normally don't want him to go more than 2. But I mean, he's typically like a 1 inning guy.
Yeah.
He's right now probably one of the better setup men in the league. Mm-hmm. He helped set up Boxberger. Him and Hirano are probably the 1-2 punch for that.
Yeah.
But I mean...
Do you pay a lot to the AL, though? Because I feel like most people I've had on, me and Spencer were talking how, since he's lived out here, he's not really paid attention to the NL or AL as much. And he knows, the standings, but he doesn't really know who's hot, who's not. I know a lot about the NL West and the NL, but I don't know a lot of what these other teams have, and pitching-wise. I know they can put up a lot of points in Boston and New York and Mariners and Astros roll everybody, but... I don't know who else has got good pitching. So do you really think do you know the AL to go I think that your statement of them having the best setup, yeah, maybe in the NL, but I don't know shit about the AL. What do you know a lot more about the AL than I do?
I mean about the AL, even just league wide, the best pitching team by far is the Yankees. The Yankees have the best bullpen. And it's not even close. I mean, their closer with Aroldis Chapman, and then they just picked up a setup man, which is now his name is escaping me, but he's a multi-time All-Star closer who is now setting up Aroldis Chapman, and just go along there with Andrew Miller that they've got there. That bullpen pitching is insane.
You just gotta get to as a starter, just get to the 5th inning, get your actual registered start and win, and then they just come shut you down. That's so valuable in the playoffs. It's ridiculous. Those hard outs where, especially when you're down by 1 or 2, and you just need people to go in there and just get just hold them at bay, keep them at bay because your offense is coming up. We need to get through this part of the order and this after this inning, and then our big boys are up. Those are such important outs in the playoffs, and having a roster like that, like the Yankees have, like you say, it could help them win the championship. But who do you think's got the best starting rotation in the MLB right now? We can limit the NL AL if you feel like one more.
Best starting rotation is. You can still go. The Yankees are still up there for sure. As far as I think that. The Astros are up there. I would think that the pitching in the AL overall is better than the National League. As far as if we're looking at just the National League, going into the season, I would have said the Diamondbacks had one of the better rotations going in with Greinke and Robbie Ray.
Yeah. And
then even still with Corbin coming on strong. They've had some dicey moments, really more just outside of Greinke. They've been really inconsistent for the most part. Obviously, there's injuries to Robbie Ray, injuries to Buchholz.
Question: is David Price hurt?
I don't believe David Price is hurt. He could have been hurt earlier in the season.
Because isn't he on Boston? And don't they have Sale and him?
Yes.
That's freaking deadly right there. I don't know who else they have, but that's
just that alone. You have Chris Sale as your number 1. You got David Price as your number 2. You're going to be legit. And then you got Philly, who took a chance on taking over Arrieta, and Arrieta's been killing it over in Philly.
Yeah.
Which most people didn't. Philly might be the biggest surprise team in the league. As far as records go.
Yeah. You know what I noticed too about the top of the top starting pitchers, the Kershaws, the Verlanders, the Arrietas, the Sales, all they're really good at is, well, not all they're really good at, excuse me, but they're really good at attacking the strike zone. You can't sit there with a bat on your shoulder because you're going to go down 0-2 and then you're going to start seeing some junk and they're going to start throwing the ball out of the strike zone, where they want to throw it out of the strike zone. And they just position that they have such command. It's so about your command. You can have filthy stuff, but it's only really filthy if you can place it.
Oh, absolutely.
And you watch Kershaw, you watch Verlander when he's playing against us, Peterson hit that home run in the first at-bat of the game. After that, shut us down. And even when he hit that home run, he got his bat in front of it, had a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. But as a strike, right on the corner, perfect pitch, hit his spot. Batter just got his head around. And what else? Nobody else could get their bat on the ball Peterson got. And it's just, everybody sits in there and just bat on their shoulder, taking a hack. You foul off the first pitch. Oh, you're still down 0-1, man. Like, you can't sit there. You're not in the... Like, the best pitchers don't let people get into a batter's count.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's all about controlling each of your at-bats and controlling what you want the batter to do. I mean, in my opinion, as great of a pitcher as I think Clayton Kershaw is, to my opinion, the best pitcher in the league is Max Scherzer. And the reason why he's the best pitcher in the league is not simply because of how just steady he is, but like he can go deep into every single game. He consistently throws
high pitch count. Yeah, that's cool.
He consistently goes 7-8 innings. He has more complete games than any other pitcher in the last 4 years.
Who's he play for?
He plays for the Nationals.
So is he hurt right now?
No, I think
Strasburg is
Strasburg's always hurt. Strasburg he's just always on the
He had some serious hype, that kid.
He did, and the problem was he was just one of those kids that he just outthrew his arm in college, and then he had the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but he threw it too many times, and now his shoulder's just effed up for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And so now he's consistently he already had one Tommy John surgery right when he first came into the league, and so now they're slowly bringing him back up, but it's always going to be dicey.
So who, after all that, who do you still feel like the best probably... I mean, starting rotation.
I would definitely say it's Boston. Boston's going to go in there and they can compete with any team out there. I mean, from 1 through 4, their pitchers are going to basically be scary.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of their highlights too, that division's highlights, because it's always 15-7, or there's always a lot of runs. Probably some good pitching, but there's so many good batters. Can't get everybody out.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing. It's like with Boston, they're a high scoring team, but I mean their point differential shows that not only are they high scoring, but they don't let people score on them either. Yeah. It's just that simple. So it's like the best of both worlds for them.
Or you get to a certain point where you're up by so many runs, you just throw out some relievers that you need to see how they perform. And then they get racked. And you're like, yeah, we gave up 7 runs because we threw out fucking Joe Blow out there. And he laid up a fastball with 2 guys on after he walked 2 people.
Right.
And they jacked it. Now the score looks closer, but we really just threw out a dumb fuck that's going down to let's get on a plane after this and go on his own way.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. What'd you do last night? You look like you got glitter on your face still.
I got glitter on my face. Nah.
What were you doing?
Wasn't one of those nights. It was it's a pretty easy night. Went over to a friend's house. We played. We decided not to do the bar scene, which was cheaper for the wallet.
Yeah, definitely.
Went over, had some dinner made. Played some board games.
What board games?
We played a game called Codenames.
Codenames?
Codenames.
I love board games. So what's Codenames about?
So I say board game, but it's really not a board game. But it's basically you've got all these you've got 25 tiles of words that are laid down as 2 teams, and you're essentially trying to figure out, each team has their own words that are their team's words. So you've got one person on the team that's trying to give clues as to which words are theirs, without you trying to guess the other one. So basically, if there's 25 words and you look down, all right, our words are fish, fox, and elephant that are down there. And those are 3 of the words. So the guy that's giving out the clue can say one word and then one number that relates to that word to try to get you to guess those words. So,
one word and one number that relates to what?
To the words that are
fish and fox.
So fish, so fish, fox, and elephant are 3 of the words. They could be animals for 3. So that tells the other people on his team that are guessing, okay, there are 3 words here that animals are them. So then you have to try to pick, okay, we think they're this one, and this one. If those are correct, then you get those words. So that's perfect. Then you switch over.
And then at the end of the round, when the words are all gone, you total up who's got more words?
Well, then it's whoever gets all their words down first.
You have okay.
Because basically you're looking at a picture and it's okay, these are all of our words, but only the 2 people that are giving out the clues know what they are. And the problem is then that all the words are still somewhat close enough or still somewhat far enough away to where you want to give out clues for your words, but you don't want to have it relate too much to a different word, because there are different words that obviously are theirs. Mm-hmm. So if they pick wrong and they pick one of their words, and they just got one of their words. And then there's
like,
ones
nope,
that
that's not it. They're like, that means it's one of ours.
Right, or it could also be just they call them neutral ones where they're nobodies, and it just means, okay, it's just like a free spot.
So let me ask you this. Is there like rounds, or how does a certain team win over the other? Like, is it like, once you get all your words, okay, we won that round, we play 7 rounds, total them up, who has the most?
I think it just kind of depends. I mean, technically the game ends after...
The words are gone.
The words are all picked up. So, I mean, you could easily, though... The whole game only takes... probably like 15, 20 minutes to play all the way through if you're doing it that way. But we played, I think throughout the whole night, we played 4 or 5 rounds.
Oh,
and it was in between having some beers and people obviously getting distracted on phones and having some dessert. So it was a good time though.
I wish my brother and sister, my cousins were here to tell a story about when I got pissed off at Apples to Apples. I'll do my best to recreate, but I got so heated I might have blacked out, saw red.
Yeah.
But I was one of those guys that wasn't, being a present individual living in the moment, peaceful warrior. I wasn't that guy, and I got pissed off because my words were funnier than everybody else's, and they never got picked. So when I got to a certain point where my word, this is going to win it for sure. I'm putting this one down, this one, and it didn't get picked. I was like, fuck this game, and I flipped like it was on some type of like placemat or something. I flipped it and the cards went everywhere, and everyone was like, dude, like, everyone's having a good time. What are you doing? And yeah, and the sad thing was I was like 24. I wasn't even young. It was so sad.
Well, that's the thing about Apples to Apples. It can get very heated. But I've always played Apple. You have to know who the judge is.
Yeah.
Say with Apples to Apples, whether you're playing Apples to Apples or you're playing Cards Against Humanity, anything like that. You have to know the judge. You have to know it's because some people they don't go by funny. Some people are actually like, all right, which one makes most sense? Mm-hmm. Some people are like, no, but I want funny. Some people just go with the most ridiculous ones. So sometimes it's not even funny. Like, you know what? This has nothing to do with it. I'm choosing this one.
Yeah.
So it's all about knowing who's gonna pick and choosing that right one. And I'm the same way. My family, we're big into games. Bandi family board game night is a big thing.
That's cool.
So we normally during holidays we try to play different games. Try to get everything, but we always land on one game every single year, which ends up being Taboo.
Oh yeah.
So exactly. So we have had ongoing arguments about Taboo and how exactly
no hand gestures.
Right. We know no hand gestures. Or like no this you can't do this.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. We have had the same argument over one particular rule for years now.
What's the rule?
So obviously you can't say the word or any version of the word that's listed down. So you're given your word and you have like 4 or 5 words you can't say or any version of that. So we have been arguing for years, and I forget exactly what the word you had to guess was, but one of the words you couldn't say was house. So you couldn't say house. So my cousin doesn't say house, they say home. So I buzz them and say, you can't say that, that's the same thing as house. And they're like, no, it's a different word. They say, well, no, home is a version of a house. And then this led on to an hour-long discussion on what is house or home. Are they the same words? What are they different means? And this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it has been continuing since then.
Wow. What side are you on?
I'm saying that they're the same word. Or it's a version of the same word to where you can't say home if it says house.
See, I think it's because it's such a fast-paced game that, you don't have time to, do all that fucking thinking. So to simplify it, especially for people that are new playing the game, it's just, or young kids or grandparents, because you're always playing with your family, if it's on the card, those are the 5 words they can't say. I know you feel fucking passionately different.
Yeah, no, I feel totally, look, if it's, I get it, I see what you're saying. I would give out, some leniency if they were new, but no. This is our annual tradition. We play this game all the time. They know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose to try to go around the rules. So it's not okay. And the thing they always throw out there, that the one line they're always like, haven't you ever heard a house is not a home? It's like, that's just bullshit. That's not.
But it's not the same word. All it is just word. It's not meanings of the word. You can't say this word. It's just the word. It's not the meaning of it.
Or it's like anything.
Interpretations of it.
Right. Or it's just a variation of that word. So you couldn't do examples are escaping me at this point in time, but I felt like house and home were just different versions of the same, or basically just a variation of, saying home is a variation of house.
But it's not house. No matter what, no matter how you spin it, it could be the same meaning. It's not the word house. And the word house is on the card.
All right, man. So I know where you sit.
I can totally see
on
how
this
this
whole
is
thing.
an argument. That's so cool that your family gets that deep into it, and this is awesome.
Well, we've attempted to switch to different games over the years.
No, Taboo's great.
But ultimately we always end up going back to Taboo.
Wait, Taboo's got a limited amount of cards. I know they like the blue and pink side. Do you guys have to get expansions or updated versions of it because you got the same? Or is there a long enough separation from the game where it's not in memory? Like, oh, we did that one yesterday.
It's a long enough separation because we normally play like it's normally just like during holidays.
Yeah.
So it's normally like when we all get together like for holidays like Thanksgiving or like Christmas.
Are you in the Encinitas place? Are you down on the beach for these?
Well, not so far. We may eventually be, but this is going to probably be. This has all been mainly here in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
But we're thinking about possibly moving one of our holiday celebrations to Encinitas.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. So for those who don't know, we found out that he's got a little place in Encinitas, and we've been growing up going to the same beach for the same vacations for years at the timeshare in Carlsbad.
Carlsbad.
What's the timeshare called? Do you remember it?
The Carlsbad Inn.
Yep. That's the one my parents have had. My grandparents have had a timeshare there for like 30 freaking years, dude. It's so funny. And they've been trying to get out of it for so long.
I know. My parents, my mom loves that place. My mom, she grew up in Texas. She always loved going to the beach. Then moved out here, obviously, moved out here to Phoenix when she married my dad. But has always longed to, like, live on the beach. So with that place being literally right on the beach, you can just walk right down the steps there. She absolutely loves it. She will never part with that just because she loves it so much. She'd end up buying the house in Encinitas. It's a little bit farther away from the beach, but still go out onto the patio, get yourself a little chair, nice beer, put your feet up, and you're looking at the beach. So it's still a good time.
Dude, let's go in September. If you're down. I'll have Friday, Saturday, and Sundays off starting next week. So I can go any weekend almost.
Alright, we'll have to look into it. It's a quick drive.
I know. I do it all the time.
Quick 5 hour drive and you're there. So
I'm going this weekend. I'm going to San Diego this weekend just to see some friends and family.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I was supposed to be there right now. But me and the girlfriend decided no, it wasn't the best time.
The puppy?
With the new puppy, we were gonna take him with, but no, since he's still working on his behavior, we thought maybe not the best idea to take him out
2 weeks.
Yeah. So I mean, we're like more than likely it would be fine, but you don't want to risk that one chance that something could happen. Yeah. So we decided let's get him trained up a little bit. Let's get him into some classes, get him some socialization skills. And then after that, once we're confident that he can handle it, then we'll take him out there.
Cool.
Because we think he'll love
Del Mar, that'd be so much fun. I'll show you later, but my brother took really funny pictures and videos of his big old French Mastiff. And she just like the ugliest pretty lady you ever seen in your life. She's a little pretty princess, but she's got like that French Mastiff, just mashed up face and underbite. Nice. So she's adorable, but she's all sand covered and wet and just sitting there looking rough and just like and you're like, yeah, you're a cute little ugly pup, aren't you? But she's very particular. She's like very princessy, but it's like the dogs just love that Del Mar Beach, man. I love it too, but have you ever taken a dog there before?
I've never taken a dog there, no. I mean, the beaches I've mainly been to are Carlsbad. Encinitas is right by the Moonlight Beach there, which is really, really nice, but dogs aren't allowed on that one.
No, yeah, no.
But I can see why. It's very well kept up, very, very touristy, very much like, keep this shit clean. But was very, very nice. I mean, I know Del Mar Beach is very dog friendly, so I'd like to eventually be able to take him out there.
It's cool because it's got parts where there's waves like a normal beach, but then it wraps around like kind of where there's a bridge and the ocean goes in kind of further. So
absolutely.
So there's not, you can go over there if the dog doesn't like the waves and the water, and you just kind of like walk him into almost like a pond or lake setting, and it's like nice. So it's calmer for a dog, but some dogs love those waves and they freak out and they run through them. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think we haven't really tried to get him in water quite yet, because we're not quite sure. We don't know if he knows how to swim. We don't really know any of that yet. Yeah. We know he doesn't really care for the rain, but it's just mainly just because I don't think he likes
the thunder.
No, it was the rain. He went out. We took him out just in the rain on a quick walk, and he just was always like he kept just trying to shake off all the water, and he didn't seem to realize no, it keeps falling. You're gonna keep getting wet. You can't be dry out here.
Shaking it off.
Yeah, he kept just trying to consistently just shake off the water, and then get wet again. He was just getting frustrated. So we're like, all right, let's go back inside.
That's funny that your mom loves the Carlsbad Inn, because I guarantee you my mom has the same like a piece of our heart in that Carlsbad Inn because I think they had it for a while when they were kids, and they lived in Pasadena, so it's far enough away past like it's where like they would go on vacation there, and like anytime as a kid you drive over like an hour and a half. You feel like you're in like a whole new like different world, even though it's not that far away. Yeah. So with Pasadena, maybe it was a little quicker back then because not as bad of traffic, but yeah, like for her, like that's where they would do their vacations and stuff like that. The Carlsbad Inn, so she's got memories for days there.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, we've been going to Carlsbad probably since I was, oh man, maybe like 10 years old or so, maybe a little bit younger. But we originally the place we would go in the summers was Oceanside. No, obviously the next little
Surfrider, what's Buccaneer Beach or the pier? Like the pier's great.
Yeah, Oceanside Pier we went to a lot. We were always there. We stayed at the little Ocean Club is what it was called in Oceanside. The Oceanside Beach Club is what it was called. And we stayed there probably for the first. I was probably at least 3 or 4 years we did that, and then I don't know what happened. Just one day my mom discovered Carlsbad. And our first actual place we stayed at for years before the inn was the Carlsbad Sea Point, which is farther up there on Carlsbad Boulevard, and that place is I would say, a lot nicer as far as like the rooms and the amenities and everything because it's like 2-bedroom suites, full kitchens, all these like really big balconies that you can look over the ocean.
That's cool.
But it's like a walk to the beach. Like you have to like cross the street, go down like a road. And so it's like
The inn is like, hey, we don't have as many amenities, but you're not going to be here as long because the beach is right there.
Well, and then the best thing about the inn too, like even like where the beach is, but it's just like a little location. You walk outside, you're right in the middle of that village. You can walk across the street and go get yourself some burgers at Knockout Burger, or go get some pizza at Pizza Port. Ceci's right there if you want a nice breakfast burrito.
Or California, the seafood there, that little seafood hut thing right there.
Then the fish and chips at Harbor Fish and Chips.
What's the restaurant at the bottom of the Tamarack Inn right there?
Oh, that's the I know what you're talking about, but I forget what that's called.
Dino's or something.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's like Dino's. It's like an Italian restaurant or something.
Yeah, that's cool too, but it's not. It's always been out of my wallet because, or not up to my wallet because I haven't been going back long enough. But I can afford it now.
Yeah, it's a great. I just love being able just to walk out there, just like we can go walk around the village, have yourself a good time.
I forget. Do you smoke weed or do you just don't do it at all ever?
I'm an occasional guy. So I mean now if I walk around, if someone has one, I'm never the guy that goes out and purchases it.
But you'll do it if it's the right setup, right area. You're not against it. You're not opposed.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm no means against it. My views on weed are like, look, I don't think it's inherently bad. I think there are worse things out there that are legal. Like if you were gonna tell me if I was gonna rank like what I dislike most, like alcohol, tobacco, or weed would be last. If someone told me like, oh, I'm gonna alcohol.
Opiates.
Yeah. Oh well, opiates wasn't.
That's the craziest one to me.
That's the worst one. Yeah, but I mean, like if you're gonna. Of like the legal things to try to do with opiates, obviously are terrible too, and how they're abused. But I mean, like I feel like it's much easier. I personally think if I was going to make weed laws, I would handle it the exact same way that alcohol is handled. No, because you go in there and you can literally just go like, hey, it's a weed bar, whatever it happens to be, dispensary, however you want to name it. But like you can go in there, you can get high as you want to, you can do it all you want to, but at the same time. You have to be of a certain age. I'm okay with it being 18, whatever they decide that it is.
Yeah.
But just tax the hell out of it like they do alcohol and how they do cigarettes. And there would be so much money to be made in that. But then also I do believe that you should not be allowed to drive while doing it. Because I know I've never driven while after using weed, but I have some people that's like, oh yeah, no, it's totally fine. You're not different. You're more focused in. But that's the same thing that people say about alcohol. Like, some people are like, oh, well, when I'm drunk, I'm a better driver because I'm paying attention more. I'm like, look, you know what? I just don't think it... Just don't think. And the same thing, like, if you're in the vicinity of your own home, no one tells you that you can't get drunk as hell as you're in your own home and just pass out.
Yeah.
So I have no idea why you can't get as high as you want to in your own home. Like, who the hell cares?
At the end of the day,
you're not...
They're not... Those two drugs, like... Either one of those ones can make you start doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. They're a stimulant. Like, it doesn't matter all gateway drugs. It just matters which ones you first try. If you try heroin for the first time, and then you start trying weed after that, well, heroin's your gateway drug. Mm-hmm. But it's just a gateway drug because weed's so accessible and easy. I mean, you still may never try pot and try another drug. I just like for it to be someone not like it because it's a gateway drug. Well, then you better not do any other kind of stimulant like smoking cigarettes or drinking if that's your thing, because that is your gateway drug.
Right.
It's not bad if you can't. I think that I agree with you. I think what's very difficult is figuring out proper testing to figure out. Because a DUI, you can go blood, you can go breath. They figured that out as efficiently as possible. I think for up to right now, figure out how drunk you are and how last had your drink and should you be driving. But for pot, that's a lot more difficult because that's gonna be in your blood for a lot longer. And like now, it's like if you really get caught, they can catch you with like up to 3 days in your system and stuff like that. Yeah. It's like that's not efficient, and like there would need to be corrections there, because I'm gonna be honest, I drive fucking baked all the time.
Yeah,
and I'm a good driver. I'm not a bad driver, but like I can't drive drunk. Some people can drive drunk. I don't think they ever should. Fuck that. But if I'm gonna make a comparison for some people who don't have a tolerance with weed, yeah, they can't drive. It fucks their day up. And there's sometimes when I get too fucking high and I'm like, I'm going to need to wait and drink some water and hang out and sober up before I go drive home. Yeah. Just like you would at a bar and you're drinking. You got to be responsible about it. But I think overall, from my perspective, my opinion, smoking and driving is a lot less worse for me than fucking drinking and driving.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how some people say it. And I agree with you. There's no real test that can be done to be like, okay, you're too high to be driving. I mean, I think it almost would come down to the fact like the officer's discretion, because kind of like technically that's how it is now with DUI, because technically you could blow a 000 in a breathalyzer
and they'd still want more.
And they could still be like, you know what, you're impaired on something. There's something wrong with you, and you're impaired to drive, and so they're going to give you a DUI. They can make that decision.
Yeah.
But obviously that's something that you can then, in a court case later, like I blew 000, there was nothing in my system, and you may or may not get away. You may or may not then get that tossed out. But the cop at the very least may decide like, look, I don't really care if this sticks. I want you off the road, and so I'm going to take you in and do all these things. So I mean, and that's the problem then that everyone kind of says like, all right, if the police have the discretion on like, are you too high, are you too this, what's to stop them from doing anything? And I was like, that's where the kind of difficulty comes in.
So yeah, it's so case by case and so subjective. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's like can one person gets baked all the time and drives just fine and no one can tell? Then if they're being safe, then no, I really don't care. If they're being safe and everything's fine, then there should be no reason why they get pulled over. There should be no indication of that. But for the people that are out there that are swerving and can't handle it or late reaction, because that's mainly what it's going to be. It's the delayed reaction that you have just when you're on weed in general, and same thing with alcohol and everything. So I mean, that's why I feel it shouldn't be done. But the actual putting it into place on whether or not, how do you test it, how do you know, that's when it can get kind of dicey. Because I'm not aware of any tests that can automatically just be like, oh, this is the level of high that you are. It's just, it's in your system. Like, well, of course it's in my system. I mean...
It's always in my system, motherfuckers.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, because I remember, I did some research into this, because when I got my new job, about a year ago, it was the first time I ever had to take a drug test for it. And I don't really ever smoke weed or anything, but I was like, when was the last time? And I remember, I think it was like, at that point in time, it had been like maybe 3 weeks, and I had like maybe like one or two hits from a pen. So I was like, is that even possible to still be in my system? So I did some research. They're like, if you hardly ever do it, it's probably gone after a couple of days, and depending upon what you do, and it all depends on your body weight, your all these things, all these factors. But they said that like if you're a constant weed smoker, and then you just stop cold turkey, it may be in your system for months afterwards. They said that, and I was like, that's insane. That if you smoke every single day, but then just stop cold turkey, you may test positive for God knows how long.
Well, from what I understand, it stores primarily in like your fat cells.
Yes.
So if you can sweat it out, and a lot of times too, is like people can mask it. Like you can mask your pee. Like cranberry juice is so strong when it comes out of you that like you can really realistically chug 2 gallons, a lot of cranberry juice in like a week. Or like a couple of days, and your piss will be so much cranberry juice, like the test can't really pick up the weed. But like, for me, it's like, just stop smoking fucking weed. Like, there's things called priorities in life, and like sometimes you can't always say yes to things, and that means you have to say no to a joint.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I got a job interview coming up, or I need to find a job, right? Not the best time of my life to be getting high, wasting time. But if your job's good, life's good, I don't see why you can't crack a beer and smoke a joint. But so that's cool. You like that. Everybody's like that now, though. Like, I think now it's like, if you're not like that, what's wrong with you? You know, it's now more. It's just, I guess, where we live, but even on the East Coast, everyone's smoking dope. Everyone's more like just us than against pot.
Yeah. I mean, I truly don't see the big deal with. I don't see the big deal with pot. Like the ones I don't really care for are like the quote unquote potheads out there that all they do all day is just stay at home and they just smoke weed and then they just do, like, that's all that they like live for to do. I feel like that's kind of like just a waste of time. If all you're doing is just staying home and like smoking pot all day or smoking or like you get home, that's all you do. Like, there's other things to do. Like, I mean, like, I was like, I know plenty of friends that like they're out doing things and they're smoking pot as they're doing them. Yeah. Like, I think one of the most fun days I think I ever had was we got super high and went and played laser tag.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Like, we'd go and play laser tag, then we'd run across the street, we'd hit a pen, chug down a Heineken, and then we'd go back and play some more laser tag. Yeah. That was a great day. And that was a lot better than someone else that just sitting in their home, like, just watching, like, more, like you know, like, anything that's on, like, TV.
Rick and Morty.
Like Rick and Morty or something like that. And, getting high and being like, oh, yeah, what'd you do all day? This is what I did.
There's been, like, I have 3-day weekends, so, like, there's been times where, like, I'll do that for 3 days, and then I will go to work on my Wednesday, which would normally be my Monday, and, just be like, fuck, I get a negative attitude, like, I didn't do anything. I capitalized on 0 time to myself. I didn't even do laundry. I just smoked, and now I need to buy more weed because I smoked it all. But yeah, it's I mean, while there's worse things you can be doing.
Yes, there are worse things.
But yeah, there's like fucking get high and do something productive.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I feel about it. I mean, and the way that I see it, no, I don't see an issue with it, but, like, also, if you're going to go be working for a company, and then they require you to, you know, take a drug test, they require you to be drug-free, then that's totally fair. I feel like, you know what, then they have that right, like, hey, if you're going to work for us, this is what you have this is what you have to follow. And so, like, going back on, like, just stop smoking weed, like, one of my best friends, her boyfriend works for an airline. And he's like an operations person, so he like is one of those guys that like goes onto the planes and like cleans up afterwards, prepares them for the next flights, does all these things. It's a pretty stupid job, but he seems to like it and he does well with it. But I remember about a year ago, she told me that he was up for like a supervisor role, but all these two do is just go home and just get baked. Like she's a teacher. So she's like at home, so she's out teaching all day, and she comes home and she'll just get high off of her mind.
As long as she comes home and does that,
right? She's never shown up to school high, but she'll get home and do that. And he works like the night shift, so he's been smoking all day. But so I remember him saying, but she's like, yeah, he's up for a supervisory role, but they tell them that once they get put into like the pool for that, they now can get randomly drug screened for the next however many months. Okay. So natural thing would be like, okay, if I want to get this, just stop smoking weed. So he started doing that for the first couple of weeks, and then he just couldn't do it anymore. So he legitimately every day he would go to work, he had a jar of clean urine with him that he would take with him, and it was in his locker. Then the event that he did get that he did get called in for a random drug screen, that he had that with him, and all sorts of ways. And I'm like, that doesn't really work that way. There's so many like ways for them to like notice that. Like if they're gonna do like a
temperature,
like it's like temperature. There's all sorts of ways they can tell if it's not actually like it was his, but he just happened. It was like his last like.
It was his from August, or it was his from June.
Right, exactly. He
carried this piss around with me for 3 months.
Right, so he was just carrying around with him every day he went to work, and I was like, how is that okay? Like, why can't he get
fucking?
So that's my.
Just give it up.
Right. So I mean, that's my issue when people's like, oh, the worst thing I can hear people say when they're like, oh, like weed. There's no addiction to it. I'm not addicted to weed. It's like, okay, then stop doing it for 2 weeks. It's like, well, I don't want to. It's like, okay, I know you don't want to, but like just to like say like if you had to though, like in this situation, like There was a very, very good reason for him to not do it.
To say that weed's not addicting is stupid. Anything's addicting.
Oh, absolutely.
Watching TV is addicting.
Yes.
Having your smartphone is addicting. Drinking coffee is addicting. Drinking too much water, getting hydrated a lot, super addicting. Mm-hmm. I suggest you get on that one though. It's ridiculous. So I'm like. I'm like I don't want to like I'm addicted like I guess it's kind of stupid to say I'm addicted because I could stop whenever I want to, but just right now in my life I don't need to. Mm-hmm. I don't need to unless I want to go out and find a job where it's gonna drug test me and I have to quit. I don't need to quit.
Right.
Something that's cool.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like you can if you have the ability to stop. It's not chemically addictive. But yeah, just like you said,
it's a habit. Like I'm addicted to the habit and like just like rock climbing. Like I am addicted to going 2 times a week to rock climbing, right? But I'm addicted to coming home every time after rock climbing and smoking pot.
Yeah, I mean that's just the thing. So like yeah, so I mean it goes along too, like that whole idea. It goes along too with like the NFL player or like just any athlete that keeps getting caught smoking weed, and like Josh Gordon on the Browns is a very good example of this. Like this guy has been almost kicked out of the league on multiple occasions because he keeps testing positive for marijuana.
The guy's a beast.
And the guy he could easily be maybe the best receiver in the league all he has to do is just stop smoking weed. And he comes out and he just says like, you guys don't understand, it's an addiction, blah 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 blah. I'm like, well look, if it's not truly addictive, then why is he doing it? Because I guarantee you right now, if I could love smoking weed. It could be my favorite pastime in the world. But if someone offered me a contract and said, look, I'm going to pay you X millions of dollars a year to play football in the National Football League, but the one caveat to this is you have to stop smoking weed, I'm never smoking weed a day in my life again until I'm no longer being paid by the NFL.
Okay, same contract. What's the one thing in the contingency, the contingency in that contract that you can't give up? That you would have to reject that. Like they're like, okay, you signed this $35 million contract, but you can't brush your teeth while you're on our team. And like, what's the one thing you cannot give up? Like easily, I'd give up pot too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
I think if they said you can't brush your teeth, I'd be like, yo, bro, like I'm not gonna have stinky breath for the next 6 years, bro. Let's do a 3-year deal. I mean,
I don't know, man. I mean, like you can't shower. That'd be my thing.
No shower.
So like if you can't shower for the next like.
We're sticking with oral hygiene. You're like, no, you can't drive.
It'd be like one of those things. Like our owner's superstitious. So our owner's superstitious. He doesn't believe in showering during the season. So during the entire season, while you're with us, no one is allowed to shower. Because I guarantee you, because not only that, because
20 weeks of no shower.
Yeah, basically 20 weeks of no shower, and then if you get the playoffs and then everything else, I was like, this is going to be fucking terrible. It's like not only do I smell. Then I got to be around 52 some odd other guys that have never showered. That's gonna be the worst day of our life. It's gonna be the worst. I would make 2 weeks. Be like, I'm out of here.
I gotta shower. What if it's like something ridiculous and bizarre, and it's completely up to you? Like, hey, our owner's really superstitious, and he thinks that like you can open up the freezer, but don't open up any fridges. Like, have somebody open up the refrigerator for you. You can grab whatever's in there, but you can't grab that handle and pull that door open. It's just $35 million a year, 6-year contract, but like, you don't touch the refrigerator.
I wouldn't touch the refrigerator. I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
How would the coach know, though, dude? Would you have the superstition too? Would you be worried they might randomly refrigerator test you?
look, man! I'll keep things in coolers. I'll have like an ice pack. I'll hire a guy to be my fridge guy. For $35 million a year, I'll be like, look, I'll give you $20,000 a year to open my refrigerator for me. That's all you got to do. Then you just follow me around, and when I snap my fingers, you got to open the refrigerator. That's it.
You guys have a guy.
I got a guy on staff. And I can
like
have
the guy that rolls the blunt, but it's just the guy that opens the fridge.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like look, here's $20,000. All you do is open my refrigerator for me.
Check this out. What if it's a different sport like baseball or hockey where they can go to arboration and they're in like arboration and like they have video evidence of him opening the fridge and he's like trying to I was a good athlete, showed up on time, hit my numbers, like we did this when I was on the team, selling himself and like actually he wasn't on this, he's gotten hurt, he did this and this and this. We don't think he should be getting paid that much. Plus we got video of him opening up the fucking refrigerator for 5 years.
I can make an argument for that. I'd be like, all right, well, look, man. Like, I'd figure out some way. I would bullshit some reason as to how that did not affect my baseball playing abilities.
Yeah.
Or if it did, how it affected it better, and I should be the only one allowed on the team to open refrigerators. So if I played this well during all this time and I let open refrigerators, like, you should give me a pass on this, and I can just always do it. Because clearly I was playing just fine.
If they said you can't eat In-N-Out, I'd be like, fuck, 35 million? Okay, I'll probably do it, but fuck you guys. That's fucked up.
Is it during the season or just like at all?
I don't know. At all.
At all? That's
fucked up. During the season, I'm like, all right, I'm training. I get it. I
could give up 20. I could give up like 20 weeks of it because then like immediately as soon as we were out of the playoffs, it'd be like, all right, cool, fuck this.
See you later. Yeah, I guess so, because that's what most players do. They get off and they just go fuck off and go.
Or if it was something where like I'm getting really tired of the team that I want to get traded, I would just show up to the owner's office with just like a double and just eat it right in front of him and be like, what are you gonna
do? Send me away.
Send me somewhere else.
Send me away. You guys want some of this?
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. That's fucking hilarious. You're excited for it? Like, let's say, because you like the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. You're not a big basketball guy, are you?
I'm good into basketball. I mean, I like pretty much everything. I mean, of the 4 major sports, I would say basketball is the one I follow the least, but I still follow it pretty well.
Perfect. And we're gonna move on. So, what about hockey?
Oh, love hockey.
I'm just kidding. I hate basketball. That's why I was just fucking with you. I don't know why the whole aspect of the ball going through the hoop. I just like talking shit on it too. It's just fun.
I mean, I like basketball. I like the athleticism of it. What I don't like about it is just like how much of divas basketball players can be. How much they come across as like, well, like the whole idea of the last couple of years has been like we shouldn't have any more back-to-back games. Like they're like, we can't have any more back-to-back because we get overworked. So I'm like, look, your whole game lasts 48 minutes. It's 48 minutes of playtime. And
hard playtime. Make sure you know that. Hard playtime.
It's hard playtime, yes. But and then so some of them don't play nearly 48 minutes of it. Some of them only are playing, 20, 30. No, unless you're LeBron James that plays like 45 minutes a game, then I can understand. Like, look, I played 45 minutes of hard, strenuous activity 2 days in a row is kind of hard. I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, like, look, you're not out there getting pounded like getting pounded and hit all the time like a hockey player is. Hockey players are out there. They play 2 games in a row all the time. They're not out there bitching about things and be like, oh, I don't want to play 2 games in a row. It's like, no, you're going to play 2 games in a row. In fact, you might play 3 just because you feel like it.
It's a different, though, comparing those two sports is very tough because, yeah, hockey's super fucking physical. Best sport out there. But basketball is so tough on your joints and then running around. My thing is like, hey, if you're playing too many back-to-back games, sit the day or play less times and let the other guys play. Mm-hmm. Like, you have a fucking team. Use your team. So you're tired. If your whole team's tired, you got 4 guys on the bench. That's like, or how many guys are on the bench?
It's usually like, I think it's a 12-man roster, so I think usually
you got enough guys on the bench to hopefully come in there and fill it in. But, yeah, I don't know. I can't fix basketball. Can't fix it. But, I don't even mind. Everyone's all upset about like the big hitting and stuff like that in the NFL. And it's going away, and I'm like, okay, then like watch a different league. Go watch UFC because you're not gonna see the big hits you are anymore. It's too dangerous. It fucks players up too much. And like for me, coming to terms with how messed up these players get, I'm okay with not seeing big hits anymore.
Yeah.
Like I would rather not see a huge just decleating hit than see a guy with CTE can't freaking find his way home when he's 30.
Right. Well, and I think part of that too is that there's not enough education out there about just how easy it is for a concussion to occur. So I mean, like on those big hits, a concussion most likely did happen, but you can get a concussion from things that you wouldn't even think about.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just from getting tackled and getting sent to the ground, like a normal tackle, you can get a concussion from.
Yeah.
And no one would guess twice until you got slowly to get up, and you're like, oh man, he didn't get hit that hard. It's like, well, it's not the fact he didn't get hit hard. It's the fact that he fell straight down and his head went whipping back.
Yeah.
I mean, concussions out there they're bad. I mean, there's no easy way to get around. It's like especially the toll they take on your brain, on your body, especially multiple times over multiple years. So I mean, we're seeing in the NFL, so many people are like, retiring younger because they're like, look, I don't want to have to deal with this. Like they walk away from this career. They're like, I might make a lot more money. Obviously, I'm walking away from millions of dollars, but I'm like, I want to be able to live my life. It's not worth having millions of dollars if, when I'm 45 years old, I don't remember my own name.
Yeah, like I'll have $45 million and not be able to walk without a limp because my left knee is torn apart, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't want to have headaches for the rest of my life, or I don't want to just like have dementia when I'm older. Like,
right.
I mean, I still mind, but you're not helping yourself playing those sports. How much do you know about rugby?
I know a little bit about rugby.
How big's the pitch on rugby? Is it wider than the NFL?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is wider.
This is my theory, right? And I don't really know why more people don't develop it or talk about it. Hopefully some people do that are in power, but I think honestly the field just needs to be wider. The athletes when the field was initially 53 yards across or something like that, something like 53.7 or something like that, something ridiculous across. And those athletes back then could cover much less ground at much less speed. They were smaller, they were just weren't as athletic, and the hits weren't as big, and there's more room out there, right? In the NHL, it's a smaller rink, bigger hits, a lot more defense, harder play. You go anywhere else, international play, Olympics, KHL, it's a big rink. Less hits, more puck handling, more space to play, longer careers. These athletes these days in the NFL are fucking huge. They're ridiculous. They're faster than ever. Like, the fastest guy back in the day is now the defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's a beast, and these hits are bigger, and the space is tiny. There's no time to react, and it's dangerous something. So yes, if you widen up the field, that lets guys, there is the ability for them to get more speed, and a bigger collision can happen. But I feel like those collisions would be fewer and far between because of how much more space there is to make moves and plays, and it might be overall be safer.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's been something that they've talked about. I mean,
they have. I don't know who.
I think someone's. Well, I don't think they've talked about actually putting it in place, but it's been like someone has mentioned like that is a solution to it that would make it safer.
Good.
I mean, they're talking about like, all right, ways to make it safer. No, the first thing that they think everyone's going to do is like, all right, they're going to eliminate kickoffs and things like that, because that's like the most dangerous play in all of football. And some people are like, well, that's not football then. You're just going to get rid of it and change the game completely. While I can kind of see, like, I do love kickoffs. I do love the fact that they're able to, because they can be very exciting plays. So I get that, but if you made the kickoff something similar but with a wider field, give them more ways to do things, it's much less likely. What the problem is right now, you have like this basically like a narrow tunnel with the two different teams running at full speed at each other, and the only guy that has the one guy they're trying to get is the very last guy that gets to start running. So he's the only one that he could like literally look down and the guy's right there in front of him and he's done. Yeah. And that's just. And so you see that's where like most of the injuries happen, that all the concussions, and they've seen it. That's the one, like the most dangerous play in sports is that. And so I can see definitely if you made it wider, give them more space, more way to move around, it can lead to they get more space to get more like time to run and hit them. But I could see the reverse happening too. So it's just kind of how it is, and just kind of said with the NHL, America just in general is a country that loves violence. They love the hard hits. They love the violence. They do all the stuff. So, I mean, the NHL, by far of all the major four sports leagues, is by far the least watched. I mean, it's the least popular and everything, mainly because a lot of people don't really get. It's
the most violent though too.
Yeah, it's also that's the thing. That's why they said like over all the course of all the years where the NHL has been locked out and has had lulls in their their revenue and making money and all this stuff. The one big thing that they've always said is like, look, if you bring back fighting, people will watch the game because people want the violence of hockey. That's the only thing that keeps it around. I mean, that's the same reason why soccer is not big in America. There's no violence. There's hardly anything that goes on with it. Yeah. I mean, it's just basically guys on a big court, big field. They're just passing the ball back and forth between each other, and then randomly they tackle each other. And they just fall down and they act like their knees are broken and they get right back up and start running again. Yeah. But I mean, there's no collisions or anything. And then basketball is the one that's is the outlier because it's really just, all the finesse and it's like America's sport. And then baseball, I mean, you do get those collisions. You can get those same ways, but there are some people that still baseball is I think one of those sports where you either love it or you just don't really care for it. Yeah. Because you have to love the strategy behind baseball and, in the skill behind it. Same thing with basketball. While most people that aren't really big sports fans could get behind watching football because of the violence factor to it, and that's just how we as Americans see things. So I mean, I think if you try to take out the violence of it, you're going to lose the casual viewer. And it's like, oh well, now it's just a regular sport. But I think that if you try to take out the violence, make it safer for the athletes, you're still going to have the football fans. I know I am not any less entertained in the last few years that they've made it more safe.
Absolutely not.
I still love I love watching the plays and seeing how can you read the defenses? How can you get to the quarterback? In fact, every time I see one of those big hits, I don't get oh yeah, hit him again. It's like, oh man, I hope he's okay. I hope that this doesn't affect him later on. I mean, no matter who it is. I have teams I really dislike. Even like not a Niners fan, but like if I saw the Niners quarterback go down, if I saw Garoppolo go down, I'd be like, no, that's bad. Like, hope he's okay.
And
like,
I know. Speaking of big hits, like I know. Almost every time I made a big hit in football, I hated it. I hated making a big hit because it hurt me just as bad, or maybe not just as bad, but it did not feel good. I was always just like wrap him up, get him to the ground, like get like legs down, take him out from the ankles below, but like just get him to the ground. Like I don't like it. Feels good making a big hit with your team jumping around you, but like actually feeling like no, it can't feel good making a big hit. Like that's gotta fuck you up, right? Unless you really get them good.
Yeah, I mean the thing is you can hit someone, get a big hit on someone, but safely. That's the thing. It's like I think that if you can hit someone square in the chest, and you knock the air out of them, they go down to the ground. It's like nothing. You know what? They're gonna be fine. They're gonna lay there probably for a minute and be like, okay. Let me catch my breath. You may crack a couple of ribs, but you know what? That'll heal up and be fine. It's when you're taking those shots right to their head, or when you're going low at their knee, and then now you're risking like everything like the chop blocks and those types of things.
See, the thing is though, like when they go back and they watch those kind of plays for like bad behavior in slow motion, that's not fair. Because you have to watch that replay in fast motion and see how long did this person have the time to decide where he's going to hit this person.
Right.
Because he's making an athletic move, and these things happen bang.
Right.
And like that person, you're trying to hit somebody, and he ducked. So you're trying to hit where he was. He moved, and now you were just trying to make a good play, but now your movement is fucked because bang bang.
Right. Oh, no, I agree with that completely too. Like, look, you can't, like you can. I think it's definitely able to tell when someone is intentionally trying to hit someone in their head. You're able to see that. But like I agree, if you're going for a normal hit and then they adjust and you can't make that same adjustment, that's going to happen. That's the unfortunate part of football. Like those are going to happen. You can't eliminate those. I mean, you hear about that new rule that came out this year about the helmet rules. Like any type of hit to a helmet at all, you can result in you being ejected from a game. And people are making are questioning because it doesn't matter the type of player. Like if you lower your head and try to hit someone, you can be thrown out. So now they're saying okay, well, what if you're a quarterback? They showed plays even if Tom Brady doing a QB sneak where he drops his head and goes through. And goes through. It's all right, according to this rule, he'd be kicked out of the game. Well, no, that's not what we mean, but that's what the rule says. And so there's no
They're never gonna kick Tom Brady out of the game.
No, they're never gonna kick that. And that's kind of the problem is that in the NFL, your name and your reputation almost matters more than what happened. Like if you're just some no-name cornerback that just went in and you but then you go in and you go and hit Antonio Brown in the head unintentionally, you're getting kicked out of the game because you just hit Antonio Brown in the head.
Yeah.
But if you're
League needs Antonio Brown, league doesn't need you as much.
Right. But if you're Richard Sherman and you go and you accidentally hit just some no-name wide receiver in the head, you might get away with it
because Sherman
because
it doesn't need no-name wide receiver.
Right, exactly. So I mean, it's just kind of how it is. Or if you're just anybody and you hurt Aaron Rodgers, you're kicked out for the rest of the year because they can't have Aaron Rodgers out for a second straight year in the NFL because they lose money. So that's just kind of how it really looks. It's just it's one of those things where the NFL worries more about money than truly where I think they feel about safety. And it kind of goes hand in hand because the safer that it is, the more likely their stars are to stay in the game. But at the same time, they don't want that. They'll enforce rules differently because they don't want their top stars not playing in the games either.
Yeah, yeah. The NFL owners have they make so much money on their teams, and they can afford. I'm willing to bet they can afford to cough up more.
Oh, easily.
Or pay for better health after the season's over. But there's so many fucking players if you think about it. If they did that for every player after the years and years and years and years, 50 here, 50 there, 50 there, 50 there, shit, I'm paying for everybody's fucking insurance.
Yeah, well, I mean other leagues do it. I mean I think Major League Baseball has a pension that they all pay into. All these leagues do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the NFL has by far the most money. So I mean, I don't feel there's any reason why you can't
a players funded thing where you're gonna play in the league, you're also everyone's gonna pay for the future healthcare if everybody who ever played in this league ever.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's been some talks of so it's just if everyone just pays in, and then after X amount of years, so for example, if you did only kicks in after 5 years of service in the NFL. So if you get to 5 years in the NFL, you've paid into the fund. Then once you're out, then you can get no health care through that. But if you are in there for less than 5 years, but you didn't make it for whatever reason, like you retire after your 4th season, but you've paid in, you could get a portion of that back.
Okay.
Because you're not gonna get dues from it. So I think
that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So something along those lines. It's a similar situation to what they kind of said with they talked about like the NCAA players and how if they should get compensated or whatnot. And that's an entirely different like conversation. But like, someone threw out the idea. Actually, who it was? It was Josh Rosen, the quarterback for the Cardinals. He was like, why not let them put into like an account for them. For every player that's there. Based off how much revenue is brought in by their likeness, gets put into an account. And then after 4 years of being at that school, after they graduate, then they can get that money to them. And it might be $100,000. It might be X amount of whatever it happens to be.
Okay, so who determines how much each player?
And that's where it kind of was. And that was like, well, how do you determine how much a starting quarterback gets for Alabama as opposed to like a kicker, like the backup kicker? Like who decides that? And that's where it kind of was.
There's backup kickers, huh?
Yeah, I mean for Alabama, absolutely.
So
that's the thing.
They need kickers.
Yeah, especially for Alabama. So I mean, it's like, and that's where like who makes the decision and who what, but they only get it if if they graduate. So that way, if they don't graduate, the NFL, the college can keep that money, but if they graduate, then they can get that money.
That's great because then it incentivizes them to go through school.
Right. And that's kind of like, that would work, I think, well in football. The one sport it doesn't work well in is basketball.
That's what's fucked. I can't tell you. I can't fix basketball. It's fucked.
Because basketball, there's such a short window of time, because it's almost like now if you go into the league when you're 22, 23, you're already old. So they need you to go in when you're 18 or 19 years old, because those are going to be some of your best learning years, so that by the time you're 22, 23, you're now in your prime. Now you're like this. But now it's like, all right, you're 22, 23. Now we have to give you a few years to learn the NBA style. So then by the time you're 28, that we might get make it a couple good years out of you. And it's just like, but I mean, I am a big opponent of the one and done rule. I don't think that I don't like it at all. I think they should be 100% allowed to leave high school after they graduate high school, 18. Go to the NBA.
Yeah, what's the point of going to the college? Like if you're just gonna go there for 1 year, why?
I mean, I think the idea was they wanted them technically it's 1 year removed. They have to be 1 year removed from high school is all it is. So I mean, a lot of times it's college. Some people just choose. Some will go to the overseas and try to get some professional experience in Europe. And there was one guy, I forget who it was, but there was one guy that literally just took the year off because he was going to be like a top prospect anyway. And he was like, I'm just going to take the year off and I'm just going to work out and I'm going to submit tapes and people are going to see how good I am. Because he didn't want to go to college. Because I think really actually what it was is he didn't have the grades to get into a good college anyway. But that's what he chose to do. But but any one of those things, like I don't really care. Like, what's the point of sending you to college for 1 year? The only people that benefits is the college. The college is going to be making X amount of money off of your name for that year. But if you go to the NBA, perfect, go there. But I do think that there should be some type of if you go to college, then you must stay for 2 years or 3, something like that. Kind of like how it's in the
If you go to college, you're screwed. Then you're locked in while other people yeah.
But the difference is there though, and this is why I think it's the same thing. Is that if you get taken when you're 18, you have to play in like a developmental league for X amount of years, like in the D League. So if you do the NBA has their D League there. Hey, we're gonna give you 2 years to develop, just like they do in Major League Baseball. No one gets drafted and goes straight to the majors.
Yeah.
If that happens, then kudos to you. But most of them spend at least a year, 2, 3, some of them multiple years, just literally learning in the minors before they ever get called up to the majors. Some never get called up at all. So I mean, why not do the same thing in the NBA? Be like, I know I can compete right now. Well then, all right, then go.
Because you can't fix the NBA.
And that's the problem. And that's,
fix it.
I mean, it's too much.
For me.
There's too much money in the NCAA. The NCAA has too much control, and the whole reason the one and done rule I think honestly was done was that the NCAA talked to the NBA and was like, look, let's figure out something. because we're not getting all these big stars. We would love to be able to get
March
those.
Madness isn't as mad.
Right.
And we need these players.
Like imagine if back in the day LeBron James couldn't have left out of high school. He had to go to a college. Imagine whatever college he would have gone to, and their ratings that they would have had for that year, and they could have won. I mean, there he may have gone to Ohio State. He may have gone to Cincinnati. I mean, he could have gone to like the University of Akron and taken Akron to the national championship in only 1 year. I mean, there's all these players that are missing out on going to the college ranks. But then now you're getting all these players that go to the college ranks for 1 year, but they get no experience at all in like how to play properly, and then they go to the NBA and they fizzle out because they don't know what they're doing. Or you can get someone like a James Harden. James Harden played 2 years at ASU, then goes off to the NBA and is a sixth man for a couple of years, and then finally now he's one of the best players, was won MVP.
Well, I mean, I don't know how it used to be in other sports, but I knew in football and in football it used to be where like you would get drafted and especially with quarterbacks, you'd have to like learn the system, work your way up, and like it seems like most sports these days, the more the higher the level of skill gets in all these sports, the quicker young kids are being put right into it. 18, 19, 20-year-olds just all over the place getting just put right in basketball, hockey, baseball players. It's just like football. You really, like what you're saying with Harden. Yeah, he had time to become professional, become a man, and get into the league. And now look at him, right? But this day and age, I don't think you see that route as much as you do just like a guy superstar right at 18.
Yeah,
it's him, McDavid.
Yeah, I mean that's hard. Yeah, I mean in hockey, I think it's probably one of the easiest ones because it's not like.
Hockey's hard. Some of these guys never make it because you get drafted from so young.
Yeah.
I think in baseball it's the hardest.
Baseball, you can be a first round draft pick and never touch the majors.
Yeah.
Or at the very least you hit the majors, but it's like you're never live up to what you like. It's so much of it is just simply potential, and how can you learn? Because that's like the biggest. I would say that's probably one of the biggest changes. The other one, kind of like the NFL, a lot of like these college guys. A lot of what whether or not their game can transform over is like, all right, where did you go to school?
Yeah.
Like, what did you learn for all this time? Like, did you learn a pro style offense, or were you playing in an offense that didn't cater to your skill set, so it worked out well, but then when you try to use that skill set in the NFL, it's not going to work. Like, good example of that is like people were worried about Jared Goff. You know, Jared Goff came in and he was a shotgun passer. And he didn't come from a pro style offense. He ran out of the shotgun. Everything was out of the shotgun. Everything was no huddle. All this stuff. So his first season, he didn't have anyone to really teach him the proper way of being an NFL quarterback. He'd never taken a snap under center, which is like the common thing in the NFL. So he looked terrible, and everyone's like, all right, this is the number one overall draft pick, and he's a bust after one season. But then you see just one quick coaching change. And a guy that came in and just taught him, like, no, this is how you need to switch your game up. This is how you do this. And his second season, he looked like one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, they're going to be a pretty good team this
year. And so now the Rams are the sexy pick in the NFC to like go into challenge for like a Super Bowl run now. And they've just only gotten better. And I have no issues now with Jared Goff. I think he's going to kill it because he had the skill set. He just needed someone to tell him how to use it properly. So.
Damn, I didn't know that about his first year, and the coaching changed. Was it Mike Smith or something? What was the coach?
The coach for his rookie season they had
Fisher.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher, probably one of the most mediocre of head coaches of all time. How he was a head coach.
The most mediocre coach of all time. This guy was so mediocre.
Yeah, I mean he has more losses than any other coach in the history of the NFL, and it makes no sense. He had like maybe 2 or 3 good seasons in Tennessee, but he was their head coach for like 18 years. And then he got inexplicably hired by the Rams and was awful. Like that whole time. He was like 8-8. It was like 8-8 the entire time that he was there, and it made no sense. And then finally he got fired like at the end of Goff's rookie season. And then Sean McVay got hired in, and he's been called like a quarterback whisperer. He's only like 30. I think he's only
the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah, he was like 35 years old, like one of the youngest head coaches in the history of the game, and just came in and they're like, why? And they say he was brought in solely for Jared Goff. So they brought in someone that was that Goff could relate with, but that could also show him how to be a professional quarterback.
Yeah.
And then immediately just took off. And Sean McVay had solid coordinators on offense and defense to help him since he was such a young head coach. And just he was basically like, look, you're in charge of Goff, and that's exactly what's happened. So he has turned Goff's whole career around in one season. So assuming that if Goff can do that can match what he did or do better than what he did last year, he's going to have a fantastic career.
It's going to help Goff make more money.
Exactly.
Crush more vag.
Oh yeah.
And Goff is I like the Rams. I mean, I'm an LA guy. I never really was in love with their football teams, but I don't hate the Rams. I know you do because the Cardinals. And
Actually, of all the teams, I really have nothing against the Rams. There's never. It's weird. There's never really been a huge rivalry between the Rams and the Cardinals outside of a division. Obviously there's a division rivalry, but as far as the hatred exists,
there's no there's nothing that
there's no animosity. We hate the Niners because everyone hates the Niners. Everyone hates the Niners. Everyone hates their fans.
They had a lot of glory back in the day, so
right.
That's still lingering.
Right, so it's still lingering.
And the Seahawks with the modern glory.
Right, well, here's the thing. There's no modern glory for the Seahawks. The Seahawks had a couple good seasons. The worst thing about the Seahawks is how much they ran their mouths about how good they were. They won one Super Bowl, and they literally gave the other one away. And their defense was really good. They basically had Russell Wilson, who would basically just scramble around and then just lob up a pass, and somehow someone would be open. But the biggest thing about it, and also their head coach is the most unlikable human being in the world. But
Pete
Carroll's just he's the most stupid gum chewing face of his. I can't stand it.
You can't stand him?
Can't stand. I haven't been able to stand him since he was a head coach of USC. He left USC knowing that there was going to be all those sanctions after everything that he had done.
Yeah.
And he's like, bye USC, and took this job with the Seahawks.
Would you have done the same thing, or would you have been like, nope, this is my tack. I can go make millions of dollars, or I can stay here and get it thrown right at my hoop.
I mean, I wouldn't have paid my players in college football to play for me. I wouldn't have gotten Reggie Bush's Heisman taken away from him. So
no, that wasn't him. Everyone's doing it. Everybody does it.
Yeah, that's fair. Then do it well enough to not get caught.
I like player coaches. Coaches that you could tell players how they talk about them, how they want to play for the coach, and he is a player's coach. You could tell he gets a lot out of his players. It's a fun mentality. I went to when I was in high school. I went to a USC camp, and he came and did a talk, and he seemed like a really cool guy, really strict. And then I think he he came and took a look at Antoine Arnold, or one of his recruiters did. I forget, but he came to our high school, or his recruiter did, and took a look at Antoine Arnold, which is pretty cool. But I don't have a big issue with him because he's a player's coach, and that's cool. Most people are assholes, expect so much, and they're quick to get rid of their guys. There's no personality to them, and it's an old school mentality, and you don't get the most from these kids these days. And he works with. I feel like the more comfortable you are with your coach, like my coach was in high school, the more he got out of me because I feel like I was playing for him. I don't know, and the team rather than myself. But that can bring a lot out of a player if you get that mentality, like team over me, and that's why I think Belichick and Saban are so good and stuff like that. But I'm surprised I've never seen somebody that passionately hate Pete Carroll.
It's just I just haven't.
The gum. It's the gum. It's got to be the chewing the gum.
It's definitely a lot to do with the damn gum. But no, I haven't cared for him just since USC. I'm an ASU guy, so USC was always a big rival.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously with the Seahawks, and the biggest issue I have with the Seahawks is just they just have the biggest bandwagon fans in the league. Look, I get I don't really care for Niners fans because they talk all about their glory and their history, blah blah blah. But the thing is, they can talk about it. It happened. I can't. No matter what I say, I can't take away the fact that they have 5 Super Bowl rings. Can't do it. Can they let it go? I think they should let it go and not bring it up. Kind of just like how the Raiders fans can't let go that the Raiders were good back in the 80s, but they've sucked ever since then. Yeah, it's the only thing they've got. But then that's so then
it's cool. Let your grandpa brag about that, bro. Yeah. That's not you.
Exactly. You weren't alive when
you can't brag about that. That's not you. Let your grandpa brag.
Right. Same thing with the cow. All those fans got that. But the thing is, those are diehard fans. I don't even care how they became those diehard fans. They became those diehard fans, but they can back that up. The Seahawks were at best just an okay football franchise for a very long time, and then all of a sudden one day, they stumble across Russell Wilson, they stumble across Richard Sherman, they got all these players, and they they turn into this good football team. I can't take away they were a very talented football team. All of a sudden now all these Seahawks fans just come out of the woodworks and are like, we're the best fans in the NFL. You never have any ideas. Like, okay, cool. Can you tell me who Matt Hasselbeck is? They're like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, Matt Hasselbeck. Do you know
that announcer?
The announcer guy. I was like, yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, but you know who else he is? No, it's like, yeah, he was your quarterback for 8 years. He took you to a Super Bowl. It's like, oh, we were in a Super Bowl before? Yeah.
Yeah.
During your lifetime. It was like 10 years ago. I thought you were a lifelong fan. You would know this.
Yeah.
I can tell you every single quarterback that's ever thrown a touchdown pass to Larry Fitzgerald. You can't tell me one quarterback before Russell Wilson.
That's been a lot, too.
Yeah. There's been like 16 different quarterbacks that have thrown a pass to Larry Fitzgerald in his career. And you're going to tell me you can't tell me one guy other than Russell Wilson. But that's what, when I see guys walking around, with Seahawks jerseys, and, most of them are Wilson, or, Sherman. It's all these guys are, recent. So if you can get me someone that has a Hasselbeck one, or can give me a Sean Alexander jersey, and I'm like, all right, you are a fan. You can do all the talking you want to.
Who would you say, out of all of the big figures in Arizona, so we go through sports figures, you have Kurt Warner, you got Paul Goldschmidt, Randy Johnson, you got Donor, Shane Doan, Steve Nash,
Charles Barkley.
So who's the biggest one?
The biggest sports name in
Phoenix
in sports history. I think in the end, probably the most popular sports probably the most popular
Fitzgerald
athlete will be Fitzgerald when it's all said and done. I think currently as it stands, you probably have it's going to be a mixture of either Randy Johnson, Steve Nash, or Shane Doan. Those are going to be of all the bigs. Larry Fitzgerald's already the top guy for the Cardinals. Donor obviously is going to be the top guy for the Coyotes. I think he's not given enough credit for all the things he did for Arizona sports. Randy Johnson's the top guy for the Diamondbacks, and then Nash I think is above Barkley as far as popularity for the Suns because he won MVPs. He took us. He was way more likable than Charles Barkley.
He's a little more recent too.
He's more recent too. So I think when it's all said and done, the biggest athlete name is going to end up being Larry Fitzgerald.
Is he your favorite?
I still got a good soft spot in my heart for Shane Doan. I love Shane Doan. Because what I look at it when you're going to be known as a local sports legend, part of that I think is loyalty to the team.
Yeah, he could have gone anywhere for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time Shane Doan could have gone anywhere he wanted to, and the only time he didn't wear a Coyotes jersey was when he was drafted by the Jets, and the Jets became the Coyotes. So his first season was as a Winnipeg Jets. So
that's cool. Yeah.
So he could have left all these times that he stayed, and he was loyal. And when everyone else was leaving the city, and he was like, "Look, everyone said hockey's not going to work in Phoenix. It's not going to work in Arizona." He was like, "No, it will. Watch, we can do this." And he made a compassionate plea to the fans, you can do this. We can do this together. We'll get through it. Randy Johnson, while he was probably just the best player that was ever on the Diamondbacks. No, he left later on. He wasn't here first. He was here for obviously probably his best years.
But he won the chip, that.
But he won the championship. That's the thing. So he's always going to have that. Yeah, him and Gonzalez. Right. So I would say probably the more popular player probably is Gonzalez, because he was like a Diamondback through and through. But Randy probably would be the bigger figure. And then Nash obviously he came in and just revolutionized everything. But we saw. No, he was there once. He left. He went to Dallas. Then he left here again and went to L.A. And he kind of asked to leave, and that wasn't really his fault.
I heard about what that.
No, so it wasn't his fault that he went to the Lakers. He did ask, I want to go to L.A. because I want to be close to my family. Which you can't. It's not like he went to L.A. because I want to win a championship with L.A. He's like, I want to be close to my family. California's the best place to be if I'm not here.
It makes sense.
So it makes sense. He wasn't being selfish about it. He was like, that's what it is. But
Shane Doan, huh? I want to bring up something you said about Shane Doan.
Mm-hmm.
You said that he made a really strong effort for the people to keep Phoenix made a strong effort for the people to keep the Coyotes in Phoenix. If you're listening, Shane Doan, you better not stop that effort, and you better start your effort to get him over to fucking Scottsdale or downtown Phoenix or Tempe area, so we can go catch some more games because I'm not going to many games over there in the Glendale area. Even though it's a great area, even though it's great, you're going to get more people going if you just bring it out here.
Well, the one you should go to is February 24th. That's they're retiring Shane Jones jersey. His number 19 is going to be the very first Coyote to ever get his jersey retired. So it was
try for another Powerball power play.
Exactly. So
what's their song when they is the Baby I'm Howling for You?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's like the Black Keys or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Baby I'm Howling. It's another hat trick for Shane Doan.
Yeah, I don't think I had that many hat tricks. But no, it'll be. I think the Coyotes this year are going to be. I think a little bit better. I mean, we played better last year than we had any business doing.
Strong end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong end of the season. A lot of young guys. Fun fact: after that Saturday game against the Ducks, you guys got. I think you guys got worked. I'm pretty sure you guys lost the last game.
Oh yeah.
I was at the W. Being, not a big deal, hanging out at the W, and fucking all these guys with beers show up, and we're like, those guys look like a hockey team. I grab one of the guys, and I'm like, hey, are you guys a hockey team? And they're like, yeah. I was like, what team are you guys? Like, Arizona Coyotes. I was like, no shit. Double take at him. Fucking Alex Goligoski.
Oh.
I was like, hey, what's up? I didn't really want to be fuck off fanboy, but my buddy got a picture with a couple of them. I was like,
awesome.
why don't you jerk them off while you're out, dude? They just got done with the season. Let them have a good time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely think, like, I'm one of those people that, I don't know for sure if I would recognize all of them, but I would recognize at the very least, I would recognize OEL. I'd recognize Oliver Ekman Larson, obviously. I think I would recognize,
Anderson, what's his name? The Hammies or your defender? It starts with a J.
Oh, Jalmerson?
Yeah, dude, his fucking noggin, his big old head, his freaking
Jalmerson's kind of hard not to.
Head.
Yeah, he would be hard not to recognize. I mean,
Goligoski was easy. I just didn't think it was like the way the sun. He had glasses on, and then like after I was like, that was fucking Goligoski.
Well, it's like one of those things too. Like we're never expecting just to see athletes walking around either. So it's like one of those things like it'd be a double take. So like every time I'm in Old Town, I'm like, I've seen a couple of athletes walking around, but I'm like, was that really who it was? Because you don't expect like them, even though they're always. I guarantee you, there's like athletes in Old Town every single weekend.
But this was the squad. This was the Sunday after their last game of the season. We ended the season pretty well, but whatever. Season's over. Mm-hmm. All the boys are still together. Everyone's going to celebrate. So it was cool because everyone was like, all right, who are all these guys?
Right.
With beards and yeah.
Yep.
Fucking hockey players are thin too, like really skinny. Mm-hmm. And they're not with all those pads. You're walking like. Are these guys a volleyball team or are they guys?
Well, I mean, just think of all the their entire life is cardio.
Yeah, they skate 8 miles a game.
It's just like they're basically like soccer players just on ice. I mean, you look at a soccer player, like they're all just like literally like they're like twigs just with muscles because all they're doing is running around for 2 hours at a time, like nonstop.
They should have a fat person soccer league.
God.
You have to weigh, you have to like, you know how the body mass index, like you have to like be at a certain body mass index, you have to be like morbidly obese to play in the league.
They'd have to make the fields much, much smaller.
No, they were the same size. Have them run around and get all tired.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. We're getting delirious. But, man, it's fun having you over here. Thanks for coming through doing the episode, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it. Are you going to come on again?
Sure.
Hopefully with Brandon.
Yeah, let me know.
And I wish Brandon would come on and tell us about his New York trip, and maybe we'll just have to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, awesome.